MD, Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to An Impact on Your Health. An Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. An Impact on Your Health, heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. An Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, and fascinating health topics, and of course where we always encourage you to call in to join in. Today, well, timely, well, not absolutely on the money spot timely. I think we're about 2 weeks off the mark, but we are in the season of heat. It is summer. It gets hot around here, and as you well know, it got awfully on here last month for sure. Today we're going to be talking to Lonnie Birmingham. He, and by the way, it is a he. I've been thinking all this time this was a female. I just spoke to him on the phone, and I guarantee you he is not a female. Lonnie Birmingham is going to be with us today talking about heat, the #1 killer of all weather hazards. We're going to be swinging to a discussion of electrolytes. There are 5 of them that he's going to be talking about. What if you can think of what those 5 may be? Well, if you can't, don't worry about it, because Lonnie will be talking to you about those 5, and a new approach was using monoatomic, he calls them. We're going to find out what monoatomic minerals are. Lonnie Anderson Birmingham is going to be our guest today for the full hour. If in the course of our discussion with him, you want to call in to ask a question or to make a comment, that number, of course, is and will be 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. Now, some new changes, some new additions to the lineup as we proceed for the rest of the month and move into August. First off, let's say on Friday, we're going to try to get Jerry Singleton here. We're just about ready to bring MCG testing back to the office, and it's always nice to have Jerry Singleton, the representative from Premier Heart, the distributors of this device, MCG. So fascinating device, so foretelling with respect to coronary artery disease. It has no equal, and we've been doing this testing since February, and now we have a device procured. It will be in our office and will become a part of all of the different forms of testing that we can do, but be done on a very regular basis. MCG testing, our discussion for Friday, and the 25th of August, we resume that testing here in the office. And then September 8th, I encourage all of you out there who think you would like to get MCG testing done. It is insurance covered, and it takes 6 minutes to do this test. That is all, completely non-invasive, just lying on a bed, and we'll have that information back to us. So we do take your test and the data that's accrued during your test, and we send it off to become compared to a database of 42,000 people, all of which have had the MCG test, but have also had coronary artery catheterization, and they were 6 months of people, and comparing their scores to yours, well, that's sort of how it gets done. On Monday, Roland Thomas will be back. We'll be talking about this interesting supplement. It's a one-of-a-kind. I always like to deal with one-of-a-kind. This sort of is one supplement rolled into, or all supplements rolled into one, a better way of saying it. It's called BAC. It's Bioengineered Algae Concentrate. It is the stepchild of Dr. Michael Kiriak, a Soviet scientist. We'll be talking about his story once again. It is something we carry in the office. I understand there are a couple other places in the Pittsburgh area that now do carry it. It is very rare to find, but the story will be retold here on Monday with Roland Thomas. New guest. Just inked this gentleman the other day, named Mario Di Martino. Mario Di Martino, talking about how to vanish acne without chemicals. So if acne is an issue, and by the way, I find it creeping up more and more in the adult population, I think I've ever seen it before, but certainly as a teenage issue, very much in the news for them. How to deal with that without chemicals. Mario Di Martino, our guest on the 24th. On the 31st, got a panic email yesterday from someone you know very well, talking about Dr. Vavavoom herself, Susan Smith-Jones. Now, she's already scheduled to be returning with us on the 7th of September, and you've known about it. She's going to be talking about spices that heal. But she gives me this emergency email. She said, I got to come on. I want to talk to the Pittsburgh audience about, here it comes, sprouts. Now, that's an interesting topic. I think the last time we did anything on sprouts was three years ago. And so I emailed her back, said, absolutely, Susan Smith-Jones, an emergency show, because she requested it on sprouts on the 31st. And that's the way that one goes. I think that's pretty much, that's rounding things out as we move into September. Hey, we have a knock on the door. Come on in the store. Hello, welcome aboard. What's on your mind?
Hey, Doc, what's going on? It's
Dando, you got to speed now. You caught up to what's going on around?
What? Oh, my God. They're going to get you now, man. This fish oil bad, not good. What about if I eat my little can of sardines every other day?
I think eating the fish is not in question when it takes 17 fish, not little fish either. It takes
Your audio's going up and down. We can barely hear you.
Is it really that bad?
Your audio, it's going up and down. It's like I can hear you and I can't hear you. And the guy said that too at the radio station, so I don't know what happened.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. We're going to take a break and see if we can get that rectified. I don't know what is the problem. But,
listen to some of your programs, and fish oil bad, huh?
As we're now finding out, yes, fish oil not so good.
So the sardines are bad, or?
No. The fish, look, as long as you get over the mercury issue, because when it comes to fish, that is going to be a consideration, especially with the very large fish. The larger the fish, the more the problem, and the more cold water fish, the more the problem. Nonetheless, the issue of taking fish oils as a supplement, and I think it's pretty much universal. This is the problem now. So you want to go to a product called 4-to-1. We talked about it on those previous shows. We'll be having many shows on this subject in the up and coming near future. Okay?
Huh. I can still barely hear you. Yeah, you need to check that because you're going up and down like you sound like you're in a something. But all right.
Okay.
Thanks, Doc.
All right. Why don't we do that? Maybe we can get this problem rectified. I didn't realize we were having an audio problem. Let's hang on. What I'm going to do is reestablish contact with the station. We're going to take a short break now. See if we can rectify this audio problem, unbeknownst to me, and be right back with you. Hopefully we'll have it identified.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What have you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Food the Spirit. The blessings of Food the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Food the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Food the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Food the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. I think we have that audio situation rectified. What we just did was just thrown the headset aside, gone back the phones the old way, the very old way, and nonetheless, for this moment at least, hopefully I've cleared things up to make this a pleasurable experience for you and for us all. Once again, back and having established the audio. Of course, today we're going to be having our guest. We're going to take a little break here in just a couple minutes so we can contact him. Lonnie Hamilton is going to be with us today talking about heat. Lonnie Birmingham. I'll get this right. We'll get this right, folks. Lonnie Birmingham is going to be our guest today talking about heat, #1 killer of all weather hazards. Talking about electrolytes to boot. A couple things I wanted to mention. RTD dressings had an interesting little encounter in my local emergency room, not yesterday, but the day before. Little guy of mine, 13-year-old, got sliced pretty good in the leg. Little backyard accident, but it had to wind up to have to get sutured, become sutured in a hospital ER. And then discussion with the doctor who was doing the show-up job, started asking about RTD dressing. She knew nothing about RTD dressing. Became very interested. We had a lengthy discussion about them. I told her, look, you got to Google that up, RTD dressing, because my listeners, my patients can get these things. You don't even know they exist, and you end up doing all this suturing with some pretty severe lacerations, and you're not getting the benefit of the safest form of allowing the patients to leave the hospital and going on home with the surety that that wound is going to remain clean and that the wound healing is going to be as best as it could be. So RTD dressings are available here, especially diabetics. My goodness gracious, got to have those in your medicine cabinet to be able to use them in case you ever develop any wound of any size, not requiring obviously any need to go to an emergency room. Just the slightest nick means that you as a diabetic need to take care of that wound extra special. This polystyrene material, it's impregnated with gentian violet, silver products, which are great antimicrobials, end up doing the job and literally have a suction that occurs, drawing these microbes out of the wound. RTD dressings available here. Of course, too, we can't keep enough 4-in-1. Danville was nice enough. He went back, he listened to the shows, he realizes that the fish oil controversy, yes, it has been launched. It's no longer a controversy in my mind, but it may have certainly become one in your own. And those who are devotees of the fish oil are going to have to wrestle with this to finally get it straight in their own mind, a level of comfort with what it's become in my own mind, scientific reality. You just can't buck it. You got to go with the science. And no matter how good it sounded in the past, scientifically, the fish oil era should be over, at least in my opinion. Anything else here? All those scientific articles, by the way, I still offer them up. I say that the 4-to-1 oil, which we're such a big fan of around here, is emanating from the work of Dr. Yehuda a Israeli scientist, published in 1994. I've got the original article, and I've got the abstracts of all the other articles done on the right combination of essential fatty acid in this 4-to-1 ratio of linoleic to alpha-linolenic. This is the ratio, and the parent compounds of those two groups, linoleic would be sunflower oil, and alpha-linolenic acid would be flaxseed oil. The ratio 4-to-1, much more stacked in favor of omega-6s. I know that sounds a little strange to you. You're thinking, my God, the diet's already overloaded with omega-6s, but it needs to be overloaded with omega-6s. They do, at these parent compound levels, become the integrated component of the cell membrane, which is all where it happens. All right, let's do this. Let's take a short break once again, now that we have our audio issues resolved. And on our return, we're going to have a Mr. Lonnie Birmingham with us talking about heat. So it's going to get hot around here. We're talking about electrolytes and how best to protect yourself and your family. Be right back in a moment with Mr. Birmingham.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise tofu in wondrous ways, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural, whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. We're here in KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on a Wednesday version of the show. We are in the summer mode, are we not? And August, normally the hottest time of that year. Maybe it didn't work out that way this year, where hot spell was really in July. Not to say it won't fire up again, and you need to be prepared if it should and would. Our guest today, an expert on all things hot. His name is Mr. Lonnie Birmingham, and he's involved very extensively with helping protect those who undergo this exposure to heat, whether that be environmentally induced or physically created. We've got football season coming up now in western Pennsylvania and across the country, and we will hear, will we not, of a tragedy somewhere along the line with respect to the hazards of heat. Heat is the #1 killer of all weather hazards, so said Mr. Lonnie Birmingham. Let's say welcome to him to our airways today. Mr. Birmingham, thank you so much for coming aboard.
Thank you, Dr. Courtney. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Well, Lonnie, let's just say, by the way, I have to apologize. I thought you were, not any problem of yours, I said you were a female for the last 3 weeks. I've been told, well, we'll be bringing her on the show, and you didn't even know it, but I have to apologize anyway. Okay? My error. I don't know why I thought that.
I hope your listeners aren't disappointed.
No, look, I set the record straight before I even called you this morning, because I've been talking about you as a feminine, and you are absolutely a masculine. Hey, Lonnie, talk to me about a bit about you and how it comes to be that you're involved, so intimately involved, even develop products along this line. Give me some of your background information. How is it that you become interested in this particular problem?
Well, I've been doing this kind of work for about 11 years now. What we do, what our company does here, is we literally take raw minerals, calcium, magnesium, potassium, zinc. We work for minerals all the way from boron to zinc and raw minerals. Break them down, and we basically turn them into what are referred to as ionic, and some people refer to them as angstrom minerals. Minerals that are broken down so small, basically to the atomic level, that they are readily available for the cells to pick up. They literally do not have to be metabolized by your body, broken down by the stomach. It literally gets into the bloodstream, down to the cellular level, very, very quickly. And a lot of times people, want me to compare them and want to know what they're doing or what they compare to. And I said, well, if you've ever been to a hospital and had an IV, for one reason or another, if you had this where they put in an IV of sodium chloride or potassium chloride or calcium magnesium, but this is basically the same thing. It's the same product. Ours is just delivered in a liquid form and you take it orally versus it's literally taking an IV.
Okay, so we got an idea of the product. Why did your interest swing this way? Do you have a chemical background, or you have an athletic background? What is it about you that saw this as a problem that needed to be corrected?
Actually, I kind of fell into this job more than anything else about 11 years ago. I found out I was really good at it. But one thing that it piqued my interest, and I got so interested in it. I do not have a degree in chemistry, and I tell people that. I'm very upfront with it. But a few years ago, when I moved to South Carolina, there was just more to this than just breaking down the minerals. So I decided to go back to school, and I am now working basically on a double major of chemistry and biology, working with the University of South Carolina. So what it has really increased is definitely understanding these minerals, what happens to them when we break them down, and then how those minerals are absorbed and where they're absorbed in the body. And that has really helped the company tremendously, sending me back to school to understand how these minerals work in the body. Because I'm always upfront, because I'll talk to people and they go, well, how did you know all this stuff and where did you get this chemistry degree? And I go, actually, I'm working on it. And they're like, wow, how do you know all this stuff? Yeah. But and the reason I went back to school is put a lot of faith in me, and it's very important for me to give them correct information and do things and bring things to their level that are absolutely correct, that are straight out of books. And we do work with a lot of doctors. We work with chiropractors, naturopaths. We work with a whole different array of people. And if I don't know something, I contact people that I know, or I go up to the university and I talk to some of the chemistry professors up there, and I'll get the information, and I will get it correct.
Let's talk a bit about this heat phenomenon. Here we are, we're in summer, and I'm here talking to you from Western Pennsylvania. It's sort of a joke. I mean, we compare what we get experience in the way of heat up here versus you in South Carolina. I've been there many times. There's quite a difference in just the normal ambient air temperature. So your exposure to heat in your state, I would believe, would be much greater than it would be in mine, except we've recently had a big heat wave across this country. There are places in this country, northeast, Illinois in particular, where there are quite a few people who succumbed to this heat wave, and they're not here with us any longer. They had suffered the consequences of heat exposure, environmental heat exposure, with, I guess, the loss of these electrolytes, which they didn't replace. Let's put this in context as a annual phenomenon, regional phenomenon, in terms of how you really should be protecting yourself from the exposure to heat.
Like you were saying, the U.S. this year has had a tremendous amount of heat. I feel so sorry for the people in Texas right now. Like 3 straight months, every day of either been over 90 degrees, many days well into the hundreds.
Yeah, 39. I think it was 39 days straight of triple digits.
Of over 100, yeah. Part of my family lives in Texas, and they will be so glad when fall and winter shows up. But in the summertime, a lot of people think that when you sweat out water, and actually are sweating out main electrolytes that are extremely important in your body because, and we've done it, and I'm sure you've seen it when you go outside and you work out, whether you're an athlete or you're just mowing the lawn or we're just spending some time outside. You go outside and you sweat, come inside, you take off your shirt, and an hour later, when it's dried out, you'll salt. Those are the major electrolytes that are in your body that have to be replaced. Missing, or those minerals coming out of your body are what cause you to cramp. Those minerals coming out are what cause stroke, delirium. And you have to replace those. Besides doing water is a good thing, but you have to replace those minerals also. Like you were saying, people die every year, and we have heard of people dying. I was doing an interview a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember where it was. It might have been Texas or somewhere in the Midwest. There were boys on a practice field of football that died, and it's because of the heat stroke, losing too much water, too much electrolytes, the body core temperature goes up, and they die. And that is so bad because it is such a preventable thing. You just have to replace the electrolytes, you have to replace your water, you have to keep your body core temperature, cooled down.
Well, you mentioned something very interesting. This phenomenon, this is the August phenomenon. Athletic teams, high school athletic teams, we're just starting up right now. I think we have a rule in Pennsylvania. August 18th is our startup time, or at least it was. It was a specific date. And every year at about this time, we'll hear in the state of Pennsylvania, and I don't know what your startup times in South Carolina are, but we hear every year of an unfortunate kid going off to his football training camp, succumbing, literally dying because of heat exposure, even in those years when it isn't necessarily so hot. It's just that the fact that they're perspiring so much through physical activity, and there have been in our state that I'm familiar with, at least, quite a bit of heat to come down literally on the coaching staffs themselves, where water used to be withheld, sort of dangled out there like a carrot. I mean, you didn't get a water break unless you were really good, you really gave me a good effort, kids. Well, now, not so much. I think everybody's right on the bandwagon. Don't use water as a reward. These kids literally should have as much water as they require. But I don't hear anything about electrolytes. Is that a correct read? I hear kids replacing water, but I don't hear them replacing electrolytes.
That's a very good read. A lot of coaches will do that, and it's not because they're trying to hurt the kids or anything, or they're not educated. The coaches are very educated, but they're just not educated in this field. That's what most people, they do just replace water, and that's where they can get in trouble. Like you said, at first you start out with cramping, then just severe dehydration. Then you might start starting to get delirium, or just and then when you really have to be careful when you're not sweating. If all of a sudden you're sweating and you're not sweating, because then that's when the body core temperature, the sweat. When you sweat, that is your body's own mechanism pulling your body down. When that stops, then you can really start to have a
Yeah, the phenomenon of heat stroke, which is absolutely lethal at that particular point. whole body mechanisms are completely gone haywire. To try to nip this in the bud, you talk about 5 minerals in particular. Maybe we should let you name the 5. I sort of put it as a quiz to my listeners, knowing that this number 5 was going to come up. But why don't you let us know right now what the 5 most important minerals that require replacement, and then others, because there are so many minerals, my goodness gracious, combining all the trace minerals with it, we're well into the 80s in terms of how many there actually are. Maybe you can talk about some of the more important ones. But the 5 for sure, why don't you mention this to us now?
Okay, the 5 main electrolyte minerals that people need to replace, well, people are extremely familiar with. Sodium and potassium. Everybody knows about sodium and potassium, salt and potassium. Everybody's really familiar with. 4 that are kind of out there for people that if you would have asked your listeners, probably some of them would have gotten, I'm sure, that most people don't realize that calcium and magnesium are also very important electrolytes. And the last electrolyte, actually there's 7 altogether, but 5 that we get, the last one is really kind of the ghost, but it is so very important, and that is the other side of the molecule, which is called a chloride. Chloride is very important because it helps others go intercellularly. The sodium, the potassium, calcium, magnesium are all positive charged, what they call ions. Chloride is negative charged ion. It helps move the sodium and the potassium and calcium intercellularly, move in and out. They go intercellularly. The chloride molecule stays in the plasma fluid and helps regulate other ions going in and out. And it's many times it's very overlooked that it's an extremely important electrolyte.
Now, just to get this physiologically set, with profuse sweating, I don't think anyone out there listening would have a problem identifying sodium and chlorine. Sodium and chlorine as being the 2 main electrolytes that we can expect to lose. Are you saying that when we have profuse sweating that we lose all 5, or is it that we lose so much sodium and so much chlorine that it disturbs electrolyte balances in the other 3? So it's not so much a loss of the other 3 as it is a derangement in the electrical component of the cell membrane to handle all the ions, or any of the ions. Which one is it, or is it both?
Well, it's a combination of both. You are going to lose a little bit of calcium and magnesium, but just like you said, when you upset the balance, if you get too much potassium, it will actually flush out sodium and water. If you get too much sodium, it flushes the other 2 out. So there is a very critical balance there that the body tries to maintain. And it's like with calcium. Say if you're a pregnant woman, the fetus, the baby, is going to take what it needs from the mom. Sometimes detrimental to the health of the mom. But yeah, there's a very delicate balance there, and when you start sweating profusely, it really upsets that.
Yeah, so it's an imbalance. The loss of sodium, potassium causes such a shift in the other ones that you end up having a cascade of events occur with all 5, let alone and replacing water replaces none of those 5.
Yeah, replacing water is just replacing the water itself, because with the sodium and the potassium, those are also ions that carry water in and out of cells.
Now, when it comes to sporting events and athletes, for the longest time now, and I guess it came from before this, there's something called Gatorade. Okay, you got to be familiar with it.
Oh yeah.
And so, athletic teams at the higher levels, you don't get water. You get Gatorade. I'm supposing that Gatorade's just loaded with these electrolytes, and in such a way the athlete gets the water along with the electrolytes that he needs. And now it's such a public drink, you can't walk into a 7-Eleven anywhere without finding Gatorade that anybody can purchase, where for a while it was only exclusively found in the athletic department. Talk to us a bit about these sports drinks for a moment.
Well, to be honest with you, Gatorade is probably better than nothing. It is replacing a lot of the electrolytes. The downside to Gatorade is that it does have a lot of sugar. And so it can give you, that rush, but there is a lot of downside from that much sugar, but you do need the electrolytes. And the more you drink, if you want to say, we were talking about balance before, when you need the electrolytes, you don't necessarily need that much sugar. What we have done with our electrolyte mix, our sports mix, and we tell people to do this all the time. If you want to add it to a Gatorade, that's perfectly fine, because what you're doing is you're actually adding more electrolytes without having to add the sugar. And I almost think Gatorade is a component. You've got electrolytes on one end, you've got glucose and sugar on another end, and then you've got water. And what we can do is we can raise the electrolytes without having to raise the sugar end of it, without having to keep drinking more and more and more. And that is actually a major benefit there.
Okay, I'm glad that you commented on Gatorade, because it's something that the public well understands, and that sugar, your product, and we're going to get to your product in a moment, but your product doesn't contain sugar at all?
No.
Uh-huh. Let's talk about this product. You mentioned a term that I think, I can appreciate it. I want our listeners to understand it and let you describe it. When you talk about monoatomic minerals, you say it's the fastest way to get a mineral into the cells. Speak to us about this concept of monoatomic as opposed to multi-atomic.
Or like a compound, what people might better know as a compound, or like a complex compound. Monoatomic, in the very beginning when I was talking about how we process our minerals, I start off here with raw calcium. Raw calcium is basically just a rock, and the size of the calcium we start off is about the size of, say, rock salt. And through a process with hydrochloric acid and a little bit of heat, we take that calcium, in a little calcium there are just billions and billions of calcium atoms. And we mix it with hydrochloric acid. It is taking each one of the chlorine molecules in the hydrochloric acid bonds with one of the atoms from the calcium atom and pulls it apart. And it's basically ripping that little rock apart one atom at a time. So in the solution, in the liquid solution, when it's done, basically what we have are free-floating atoms of calcium or magnesium or any of the other minerals that we do. And then we add that solution into, like say, a 1,000-gallon tank of water. And that's how basically we make our minerals. It's called monoatomic because they're a single atom floating around in a water solution.
So you explained how you liberate the calcium from calcium carbonate. Similar processes are involved with other compounds of a positive and negative ion that dissociates, and then you're able to harvest just the one half of that component, and you get the sodium instead of the chlorine, the potassium instead of the chlorine. Is that the idea?
Yeah, pretty much. Because when you add straight, say, calcium, the hydrochloric acid, you are going to get, there's going to be a little bit of water left on it. You're basically making a calcium chloride, and your off gas is hydrogen. So what is in the mix there is what you have, if you remember from your chemistry days, and then what out gas is going to be basically hydrogen gas. So basically what you're going to be left with is basically a chloride mineral, or a chloride element and a calcium element. Now that a lot of people, we've mentioned chlorine and we've mentioned chloride. They are pretty close, but they are also different. They are the same molecule. The difference between a chlorine molecule and a chloride molecule is on the outer valence shell of that chlorine molecule, you have to match an electron.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's considered a chloride molecule.
It's an ion and not a molecule at that point.
Yes.
Well, you really advanced yourself because you never went to school to study it. You're there now. You probably should be teaching the class, not necessarily sitting back in the class, because if you picked up on all this acapello, you've done a heck of a job, my friend, because your explanations really hold up muster. They do stand the test of scientific scrutiny at even my basic level of understanding them. So my hat's off to you.
One thing that's been interesting, I'll sit in a class and I'll talk with my professors and I'll tell them what I do, and they go, "You've never been to school?" And I go, "No." One thing that allows, and a lot of people laugh, I kind of put the cart before the horse.
Yeah, you did.
But when I'm sitting in class, I can really glean. You've sat through these classes before. You might not use 90 to 95% of what the instructor is teaching. He's giving you such a broad band of history. But since I know what I focus on, I can really focus on my interest, what is there, and I can also ask very detailed questions that literally sometimes the professor will look at me and go, "Lonnie, we don't know," because chemistry is such a large, there's so much out there that, yeah, it's really hard for somebody to be an expert on everything. And sometimes I have to, different things, and they go, "You really don't know it." This field of breaking down the minerals, you actually have more experience than we do. We're good on the board and do it theoretically. You actually do it for real. So, yeah, you might have a little bit more experience, but it has been absolutely fantastic going back to school and getting to do everything. I've taken all my honors chemistry and my organic chemistry. I'm literally starting to get into quantitative analysis. One class, there's anybody in chemistry is out there, and they all tell me it's physical chemistry. Physical chemistry is really tough.
Well, best of luck to you then as you move in. Let's do this. Take a short break. When we come back, I'm fascinated by your connection to the athletic teams, in particular the South Carolina Gamecocks. Is that who you work with?
Actually, we work with South Carolina State. There are 3 colleges down here. We don't work with the University of South Carolina yet. That's a definite goal of ours. But we do work with 3 colleges down here.
Well, I want to hear all about them. We're going to take a short break. Come back, find about your athletic connection with these 3 colleges, what actually you are doing for them, and then some of those other elements, some of those other electrolytes that maybe that you included in your product. And I want you to tell us about your product. That'd be very interesting, okay? Okay, folks, we're with Mr. Lonnie Birmingham talking about heat and the consequences of it. Not just water now to replace, plenty of electrolytes. The subject continues on our return. Be back in a moment with Mr. Lonnie Birmingham. This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you were looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, the Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. We're here in KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today, and with us today is a special guest. His name is Mr. Lonnie Birmingham, very much involved with the issue of sweating in a way to, protect you in these hot times. You have, you've got children and grandchildren about ready to embark upon athletic endeavors that are also challenge the body in its capability of bouncing back to the rigors of everyday physical activity. We're learning about how to protect in that way by the expert, sort of reverse. He's learned about that he's teaching his teachers right now, chemistry teachers, about what he's learned on his own with the replacement of these substances. Mr. Lonnie Anderson, are you still there with you with me?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Do me a favor. We want to give you a moment right now to talk about various websites and phone numbers to allow our listeners to take this to the next step, and any special offers you may have with respect to your product.
If you would like to take a look at our company and see the different products that we carry, you can go online and look at us at CompleteH2OMinerals.com, or I take a lot of phone calls, talk to a lot of people about a lot of different issues, not outside of the issues. And our phone number here is 1-877-MINERALS, MINERALS. That comes out to 1-877-646-3765. And when I was talking with you off air, what I'd like to do is give people the stamp, if you're listening to the stamp, so you can go ahead and try some of our electrolyte mix. And we've only talked about 5 minerals. In our electrolyte mix, there's either 10 or 11. We don't have any sodium in it. The reason we didn't put any sodium in it was because when it was developed as an electrolyte mix, but also a recovery mix. We wanted to give it out without sodium. We have since developed another, I'm going to say, electrolyte mix. And that one does have sodium. But that's one of our electrolyte mixes. But what we like to do is, if you call us, email us, tell us that you heard us on Dr. Courtney, I will send you a 5 strip. These come in what we call a little clamshell that has 30 individual little fat vials. Each vial has 5 mils in it. I'll send you a strip of these which have 5 individual little vials, free of charge. Tell us that you heard us on the radio and if you would like to try it out.
And so what do? You put it in water, or you just take the 5 ml?
You can do it either way, actually. Mm-hmm. It's not that harsh where you can't take it straight. You can literally take it, put it in your mouth. If you want to hold it for a few seconds and swallow it. The 5 mils is literally not going to make it to your stomach. It's going to be absorbed in some liquid under the tongue, where the vascular system of the esophagus is very close to the surface and will literally be absorbed in just a couple of minutes.
Whammo.
And
into the bloodstream.
You drink it with water, and a lot of people do, or mix it with Gatorade or with water. Say you're working out and you want to take 1 or 2, you mix in a pint of water or a quart of water. All it will change, it will taste a little salty, but it will not really, it doesn't taste bad at all. And then as you're working out, you're getting your electrolytes, you are getting hydrated.
Very good. Okay. Once again, that phone number?
1-877-MINERALS or 1-877-646-3765. If you call me and tell me you heard me, I'll send one out to you right away. And in Pennsylvania, you'll probably get it by Friday or at the latest Sunday.
All right. You're involved with athletic teams in your area, South Carolina, as we already said. It's quite a hot spot. And because you got the heat from Florida without the breeze, my friend.
We down here, I moved from Idaho. It does get hot up there, but it's definitely not the humidity. And for the length of time. I remember the first year that I was here, we were having 90 degrees in April, and I was like, oh my God, where have I moved to? Yeah, we get extremely hot down here, we get humid down here. And like you were saying, this summer we started working with 3 college football teams. We've actually worked with high school football teams over in Oklahoma for about 3 to 4 years now, where kids were dropping out, nearly cramping. But what we've done is put together a special mix. We're talking about the special mix of electrolytes for our college teams here, because they have realized how important it is to be hydrated, not to run short on electrolytes. And because once a person gets so cramped up, because that's kind of, trying to put the horse back in after the horse has already got out, shutting the barn door and all that, they can almost be done for a game. Because I'm sure you've seen it when they take players that have cramped up so bad and they run them to the locker room. What they're giving them is actually an IV of either potassium chloride or sodium chloride or a mixture of both to help replace the electrolytes. But a lot of times those players will be done for the day. What we try to do is interject, replace those electrolytes on the scale of within literally a minute and a half. It's absorbed into the cell on its course. And the minute and a half, that's not something that I was curious about that. I went and talked to one of my chemistry professors, so somebody asked me, how long does it take to get in? And like I said, I'm in school, I'm still learning. So if I don't know something, I will go find the answer. And I talked to one of my chemistry professors, and I said, literally, how long does it take? He said, Lonnie, when you ingest this, it will take about a minute and a half, because it can totally bypass the digestive system. Because of the hydrogen bonding that can be absorbed out through the stomach lining. Because there are 2 things that pass through the stomach lining. One is water, and alcohol. That's the hydrogen bonding effect with the water and the minerals, and the monoatomic or the ionic side. They can completely go through the stomach lining, get into the bloodstream, and absorb extremely quickly.
We talk so much about athletes here, and you are involved with sports teams, but those who aren't necessarily athletes, but they're just exposed to perspiration, increased perspiration in the summer months, the adults that are listening to us right now, how should they end up trying, and should they put this in the water that's in their refrigerators? Anytime they drink water, should they be making certain that these minerals are contained? How is it that you adjust your approach when dealing with adults who aren't as physically active as these young kids?
I would definitely say that if you're in western Pennsylvania and you're going to go outside on a Saturday afternoon and going to mow the lawn, definitely start to hydrate a little before and add these minerals if it's 15 minutes before you go out, because then they'll already be in your system, and when you start sweating, but everybody needs those. Minerals are so important. They're kind of, in the body, they're the overlooked. Everybody talks about vitamins. Minerals are kind of in the back. But if you don't have minerals in your body, you're not going to exist. You're not going to exist without potassium, which controls the heart rhythm, sodium, which controls fluid, calcium, which, everybody knows the bones, magnesium, which is also in the bones, zinc for your immune system, chromium, which helps strengthen the pancreas so we can synthesize glucose with the cells. There are so many aspects where we use minerals out there, we could literally talk for hours.
But I think we're getting to what my next question was. You had mentioned the big 5, but that your product either has 10 or 11. I was trying to find out, what are the other 5 or 6? And I hear you just rattle off zinc. I'm assuming that's one of them?
Actually, zinc is not in our electrolyte mix, but it is in a product. We have what we put together here. You've heard of I'm going to pull this out of it, like Centrum Silver. What Centrum Silver is a combination of different, some macro minerals, which are the major minerals, calcium, magnesium, potassium. But it also has a lot of trace minerals. But the bad thing is, this is in the pill. And as you get older, Century Silver for people that are over. That's almost a conflict of interest. As people get older, they have a hard time assimilating pills, even our food. So as you get older, you definitely need to subsidize minerals, supplement the minerals, but it almost needs to be in a form, well, it does need to be in a form that the body can easily assimilate, and they assimilate liquid much more readily than they do a pill. But we have tips here that what we've put together is a whole combination of vitamins and minerals. Each one of our kits has 33 different elements in it, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, all in a liquid form that you can take and are extremely available to the body and to the cells.
All right, as we're coming up, literally with a minute to go, take this moment to once again please tell our listeners how they can find out more about your product, what phone numbers they can call up to actually sample your product, because you do have that little special thing you're going to send to them. And as we go on out of here, they'll be able to maybe get this in their own hands, and they may not be athletes, but they certainly bear up under similar forces if they're like mowing the lawn or doing the gardening work. Just as,
I would probably say our largest base of customers are people that are over 50, or are 50, 60, 70 years old, really take care of themselves and know that they are seriously looking at supplementing themselves. I deal with people that are in their 20s, that maybe aren't athletes, but want to take care of themselves. The majority of our customers are over 50 years old. And please look us up on the internet. Our website, again, is H2Ominerals.com. Look at the products that we have. Look at the specials that we do. We have monthly specials. We have the kits that we put together, or the individual minerals. Or give me a call if you have any questions. I take a lot of phone calls. And that phone number is 1-877-MINERAL. And I have truly enjoyed being on with you, Dr. Courtney.
Hey, my enjoyment too. I hope our listeners enjoyed it as much. We'll be back with you sometime in the near future. Good luck to you at school, and you get physical chemistry coming up. There's quite a bear, I understand, down there in South Carolina.
Yeah, it does. Well, I hope to talk to you again because October is actually breast cancer month, and we do a fair amount of work with women in breast cancer, and I would love to talk with your listeners on that issue.
Oh, you don't know what can of worms you just opened. May very well be back with you. Thank you so much, Lonnie.
Talk to you again. Thank you, sir.
Okay. There you have it, folks. Mr. Lonnie Birmingham talking about heat and electrolytes and how to replace them. On Friday, we're going to try to have Jerry with us to talk about the MCG testing coming up and open it up to you. We'll have more on the fish oil story on Friday. Can't ever just let that sweep that under the rug. Till then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney with Mr. Lonnie Birmingham saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, MD, Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002. Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Do you have stress in your life? We all do. From the time we get up in the morning, drive through traffic to work, deal with our coworkers, return in rush hours, deal with our children, and then go through it again every day. All of this stress bombards us, causing our bodies to trigger a defense mechanism and